Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Steve Baxi.
And today Steve and I are going to tell you what we thought of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. And I can't believe that we are finally at Dawn of Justice. I feel like we've been waiting for this forever.
Kind of hard to believe. I just saw it, like all that time, all those trailers, all that speculation, and it's over. It's here.
You and I talked about this a lot. I mean, like we did so many speculation videos on this that whenever a trailer came up that we didn't talk about, people rioted.
They kept making new trailers and they kept looking different. We kept having to do videos.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it was adding so much to the discussion. Yeah. So obviously, we always, and Steve's never been on this show. We always open this with a synopsis. So Batman and Superman fight, and then there's justice. That's and that was my synopsis when the title was first put on the movie, and then I've seen the film, and that's kind of what it is. Yeah, do you want to give any more really vague synopsis besides that? Our crowd knows what this film is.
They do. Chances are they've probably seen it by the time they see this video, and anything else aside from what you just said would be spoiler territory. I think that's kind of it.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because it's one of those movies. It's one of those things it's hard to talk about without spoilers.
Yeah. Every stuff from the trailer. A lot of people aren't sure if they trust Superman. A lot of people aren't sure if they trust Batman. Those two are gonna go at it someplace because there's a V in there. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight into it. There will be a spoiler cast on Sunday, so we're gonna be really tight-lipped right now, but we're gonna tell you what our immediate reaction was very briefly. And let's begin with Steve. Steve, tell us how you felt about Batman vs. Superman.
Alright, well, let me just read my boards.
Dawn of Justice.
Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice made me feel like the trash on my lawn hadn't been picked up in 3 years. This movie is absolutely awful. It's just really, really, really bad. There were 2 or 3 things in it that I kind of like out of context, but other than that, it is probably one of the worst movies I've seen in a while. It's really, really bad. Everyone is psychotic. It's so bad. That's kind of all I got right now. It's really bad. Really?
That's it?
I mean, I'm waiting to see what you think so we can get into some of the details, but it's really bad. Batman, Ben Affleck's a great actor. The Batman is awful in this movie. The Superman is awful. Henry Cavill, who is an actor I really like, turns in no performance whatsoever. And just everyone in this movie is really dumb and nothing seems to happen. It's not a movie with a story. It's a movie with a bunch of CGI action. That's it. There's no story.
So Steve's not feeling it.
I am not feeling it. I am loathing it. If you want to watch this movie, just watch the 9-minute supercut of all the trailers and you've seen it.
Steve, I don't want to respond to movies anymore after I've first seen them. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't know why I do this, honestly. It's fun to go back and see what you said and then see how your ideas and opinions have changed over time. Everybody just remember that these are gut reactions and there is, breathing room, and maybe when we get to Sunday I'll feel differently about it. I didn't have Steve's reaction even at all, even remotely. I don't know what Steve's talking about. Here's my board. This movie, Steve, and somehow or rather I knew that's what you'd say. And I have this a lot with Steve, and nobody read into this. I love Steve. Steve and I are good friends. We look at things very differently sometimes, and it's a difference in worldview, and it's a difference in histories that bring us to a certain place. I don't know what Steve's talking about. Steve, yeah, Steve, and he's gonna ruin it for me, and he's gonna make me hate it because that's what Steve does. That's what he's here for.
I'm surprised you didn't hate it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't even want to do this now. I don't even want to talk about it. Steve, this movie made me feel like Zack Snyder somehow watched all my videos up through today and tried to make the Batman Superman movie he thought I would love. And I can't go any farther than that without giving away stuff, but I cannot look at this film objectively right now, having just walked out. And to be fair, Steve's had a couple hours. I just got back, and I haven't had time to process it all.
Although, to be fair, the thing I wrote on my board came as my very first thought after I got out of the theater.
Yeah.
So,
well, why don't you go ahead and start us off, and we'll have a little bit of discourse briefly, and again, we'll be vague, but we'll talk about more specifics than simply, I thought it was bad, and I actually enjoyed it, but couldn't decide if it was good or bad walking out. And to be fair, I have that with a lot of films. I need time to digest. Go ahead.
Where to begin? I mean, I don't want to act like I have this whole thing fully formed in my mind yet, because I don't. But I do think this is a legitimately awful movie. And I don't like Man of Steel. I loved it at first. As time went on, I've grown to dislike it more and more. This is worse than Man of Steel. This is a movie that has no story outside of the action. Everything they bring up, even remotely, that's supposed to be thematic, doesn't actually go anywhere. None of the characters really feel anything, and it's just a series of contrivances and nonsense decisions over and over again to get us to a fight that's ultimately not very satisfying and doesn't make any sense. There's a couple of lines here and there that I like, particularly from Batman's side. I think the banter between Affleck and Jeremy Irons is great. I think those two actors really do a lot for this movie, but the material's not there. Batman's not really a character at all. We get into his head more than anyone else, but everyone else is just reacting to things and just making nonsense decisions as they go along. There's really nothing here of character value or real substance. It's nonsensical. Superman, this is not a spoiler, but Superman, from the very opening of this movie for me, was pretty irredeemable. And Batman gets there really, really quickly for me as well. Batman is absolutely psychotic in this movie, and I can't stand some of the things he does here. I literally, in the theater, when I saw certain scenes, particularly in the Batmobile, I almost jumped out of my seat because I thought it was atrocious for him to do that. But it's really, really bad. I think this is an action-driven movie with a semblance of a story to just get us to the ending. That's really about it. It's just action, action, action to get us to that ending. And I just didn't enjoy it because it's just a big CGI fest. That's all I thought it was.
Wow. I need to noodle it more, I guess, Steve. Having just spent the last few days doing almost nothing but poring over Man of Steel and living with that movie, it's hard not to just compare it to that. And for me, I thought that Zack Snyder fixed a lot of things. There's a lot of the stuff that I really disliked in Man of Steel, and I've heard a lot of reviews that have said, if you liked Man of Steel, you'll love this, and I don't love Man of Steel the way I used to. That movie's a weird thing where I still enjoy a lot of things about it, but it doesn't ultimately come together and work for me. And I'm afraid that's going to happen with this the more I give it time, you know what I mean? But I had something closer to the, not exactly the experience I had with Man of Steel with this, because that was introducing us to a brand new universe, and I was kind of like floored and sandblasted by a couple of the big ideas that they threw at us at the front and with the Krypton stuff. So it was, it was hard not to look at it with nostalgia glasses and kind of tickling some of my particular sensibilities. But then it is similar in that this movie did that too. It tickled certain of my particular sensibilities. There are, and again, I can't say much, but there are things in this movie that I have been waiting to see on screen for 20 years and got to see it.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew exactly that you were going to say that.
Yeah, and that's so predictable if you've seen it, and everybody's going to be like, "Oh, Captain Logan," you can't just say it's good because it did things that visually that you've been waiting for. I spent that whole, I don't want to say anything. There's a part where I kept going, okay, I've always wanted to see this, but is it good storytelling? Have we done enough with a certain character yet? And I still can't decide. I still don't know. I see what you're saying with characters being kind of irredeemable, but I tell you what, I can't look at this the way that I looked at Man of Steel before. Now that we've had that, and now that I'm looking at this and these two movies together, this is Watchmen with DC characters. Like, that's what it is. And as far as like the movie Watchmen, it is that heightened and that much of a melodrama. It is not the realistic world that it was acting like it was in Man of Steel, and it skirts that line really interestingly because it still has dates. It's still like we still have Clark's like Bruce Wayne's parents were killed in 1981. We have particular dates, and it's rooted in the real world in the sense that it's now, but they did the stylized thing that we thought they were gonna, that it was pretty clear they'd do from the trailers, and I thought that tonally it was way more consistent than Man of Steel was, and I was enjoying the surreality of it, and a lot of that is really enhanced by score, and I don't want to say, oh, it's a good movie because the score is good, but the score got me with a lot of some of the kind of over the top things they were doing with characters. I'm not going to come down completely yet on Lex Luthor because I don't want to say I loved him and then, get to Sunday and go, yeah, no, you guys are right. First impression, really interesting take on that. I wish we got more background, but really interesting take on him. I am really reserving judgment until a second watch and giving myself... Well, I'm not reserving judgment on how I felt about it. I enjoyed it immensely. That's fair that you didn't. I'm just saying that, I don't know if it was a mood thing. I liked it as a Man of Steel sequel. Like, it is a Superman movie before it's a Batman movie. And
I don't even kind of agree.
Okay, well, you don't have to. That's what I think.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, so Steve liked it. I didn't. I flipped my sign green. I guess I should say half-heartedly, because I'm sure I'm going to get sandblasted, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I'm sure I'll hate it next week, but for right now, I had a really good time with it. What else do you want to say?
Well, I mean, I don't mean to make it seem like either one of us is going to, fundamentally force each other to change their views. I mean, it's just an experience thing, but I'm telling you, 45 minutes into this movie, I wanted to leave. It was so boring. If we weren't reviewing it, I would have walked out on it. I think it's just that awful by the time we get there, by the time we get to the end.
Wow. I kept waiting for it to get terrible. I mean, we had all those early reviews, and I don't know what people are talking about. I mean, I saw things in reviews that were simply factually inaccurate. I'll say this because it's not a spoiler because of trailer stuff. I saw reviews that said Wonder Woman at the end comes out of nowhere. No, she doesn't.
Oh, maybe. Okay, she doesn't come out of nowhere, literally, but at the same time, I get that feeling a lot. When she showed up, I'm like, wow, this is really, really convenient that she's just going to show up right here and then just save the day. I don't know, I didn't like that.
Maybe the timing of when she walks into the fight, but that's a comic book thing. At least, but I mean, here's the thing. Again, maybe I'm going to disagree with myself later when I say this, Steve, but I just feel like this is a world that isn't realistic enough that we can, I feel like the internal logic is working better than it was in Man of Steel, and that it's getting away with some of that stuff in a way that movie just didn't.
Okay, I'll give you, it's consistent, but the whole movie rests on a bunch of conveniences and contrived schemes that by the time they all get there together, Wonder Woman factoring in is complete and total luck. And if she didn't show up or here, everything would have gone differently. And it's just way too convenient for me. I'll mention Lex Luthor really quick, but I can't say whether he's a good or bad Lex Luthor because he has no character. He is just Jim Carrey playing Lex Luthor. It's not just the eyes. He's Jim Carrey playing Lex Luthor.
I kind of had the same thing.
Character. He's just a personality.
Especially by the third act, I kept going, this is like if you had a evil billionaire corporate empire Edward Nygma, and I wasn't thinking Jim Carrey, I was thinking just the Riddler in general. He's at the very least, can we agree that he's a psychotic Batman villain? He's not a Superman villain. He is a Batman villain, straight up.
That's true. I guess that's not saying much for me, though, because I think everyone in this movie is a psychopath. I think there are no heroes in this movie. They are just outright horrible people doing horrible things and acting like they're good for it.
Well, I guess I'll watch it again and see that and totally think I'm stupid in this video. But anyway,
I mean, if you enjoyed it, that's fine. I mean, there were a lot of people that were really into some of the moments, but I mean, even some of the jokes I found were just awful. Not because the joke didn't land, but because of the repercussions of what a character did just to get a laugh out of something. It's just, I don't know. It's not a movie for me. It's not at all. It's just one big fest of fancy scenery.
Well, we'll talk about it again on Sunday and with a group, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of disparate opinions. Also, I can't promise this yet, but he's going to try really hard. Oliver Harper is supposed to join us on that.
Awesome.
So he's going to be there on Sunday, and it's going to be really interesting to see what he thinks, he being as big of a Superman buff as he is, especially with where we've got Superman in this, especially by the middle of the film. But anyway, we will see you Sunday, hopefully. We're going to do that after Primetime Crisis, so that'll be at right around 9, maybe about 10 after 9 Central. We won't let Crisis go too long, and I'm still technically on vacation, so I've not been watching shows, or at least very many shows, so Steve will still be running Crisis, and then I will be lazy and show up for the second show. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching, folks, and we'll see you again later on. And if you've seen the film, leave your comments, and we're looking forward to seeing if your immediate reaction was more like mine or more like Steve's, which could not be on more polar ends of the earth. I am Metropolis in this case, and Steve Baxi is Gotham City. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Steve Baxi.
And we'll see you next time.
Do 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 do.